Hey guys, welcome to another wonderful podcast, Everything Hollywood, with my friend Larry Namer. Hello, Larry.
Hey, another week, here we are.
Another week, here we are.
We're surviving the Delta variant.
Yeah, I mean, that's, school's just started. I know for my kids, they're going to start in a couple of weeks, and we have an option for them to stay home, but I was reading, I mean, a lot of kids are going back to school. As a matter of fact, right outside here, I just saw kids getting on the school bus.
Yeah, kids are going back to school. I went to the Dodger game last night, and it's interesting because if you're sitting out in the stands, you don't need to wear a mask. But then if you go underneath where the concessions are, you need to wear your mask. And everybody who worked there wore a mask. So, yeah, everything seemed pretty safe, and it was a good game, and it's just fun to be out again. I tell you, LA now is getting with the COVID stuff is getting bad again. A lot of production having to shut down again.
So that's still shut down. I know you mentioned last week that they are going to shut down.
Shutting down. A lot of the studios are severely restricting the activities that could happen there, and all the agencies, the big talent agencies, pretty much are all working virtual, and have made the decision that at least through September they're going to stay virtual, and a lot of them are even thinking of staying virtual through the end of the year. So it's back with us, and if we don't solve it soon, we're going to go into 2022 with the same problem.
Yeah, I mean, going back to the Dodgers game, did you have to show proof of vaccination when you walked into the
No
venue?
Proof of vaccination, but you did have to be wearing a mask, otherwise they didn't let you go in. And but yeah, for the most part, people abided by the rules, so it was okay. It was pretty good.
But that's something that they're about to end, right, Larry? Where they pretty soon, I think it's already starting in San Francisco and what they're doing in New York, right?
Yeah.
So if you go to an event like the Dodgers game or going to a gym or a restaurant, you have to show proof of vaccination, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think you sent me the app to get on my phone to be able to show it, with a QR code that I've been vaccinated and stuff like that. But now they're talking about booster shots, and it seems like to me a never-ending problem.
Yeah. I mean, there's a little bit of criticism about that because they were saying that some of the countries, they don't even have their first shot, and we're talking about booster shots. So, I think this is going to keep going. And, of course, this past week, the news that came out of Afghanistan. Now, everyone knows that I'm Afghan-American, although I was born in this country, but both of my parents do come from Afghanistan. It's been, pretty kind of heartbreaking to see some of the images on TV this past week.
Yeah, it's been crazy, and I don't want to get into the politics of it, but, I just look at what's happened in Afghanistan over, particularly the last decade with, some interesting filmmakers coming out of there, interesting music people, interesting writers, and, it appears like all that stuff is going to go away, all that progress they made in the cultural world.
Yeah.
It looks like that just kind of gets buried again.
Well, hopefully it's going to be different. I know back in the 90s when the Taliban came to power, they completely, stopped all the cultural activities. I hope that it's going to change this time around, and they're going to, encourage musicians, filmmakers, and artists to continue on with their work.
Yeah, I don't know what to think at this point. I think, this is one of these, they're saying some of the right things now, they're actually having news conferences and stuff, and they're addressing some of these questions or issues. But does it hold up over the long? Are they going to do what they say or not do what people are worried they're going to do? So, nothing to do but just wait and see.
I'm hoping for the best. And let's talk about what's going on here in Hollywood.
Well, I mean, one of the big controversies this week is what's going on with a Nicole Kidman movie.
Yes, I heard about that.
They were shooting in Hong Kong, And but normally you'd have to quarantine for 2 weeks when you go to China, any place in China. I mean, I even was invited to the Shanghai Film Festival, and I didn't go because they wanted me to quarantine in a hotel for 14 days. And I just said, no, I'm not going to do that. And they were relentless. They wouldn't give in. But yet with this Nicole Kidman movie, they've actually allowed them to skip the quarantine part. Other than the fact that she's a famous actress, there's no other logical reason that they did that.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I don't know what your thoughts are, but the quarantine part, I don't really, for me personally, I don't really understand it that much. I don't know if you're vaccinated, if you can prove that you're vaccinated, and they give you a COVID test, then everything is okay. Then maybe you could explain the reasoning for being quarantined for 2 weeks.
Well, I think, particularly in China, I since I do a lot of work, I can talk to that one. I think they're just overly concerned with, this getting out of hand there. So they're being very cautious and making sure everybody who comes into the country is quarantined for those 2 weeks, because they could be incubating and whatever, and they can't afford to have another big outbreak there. So I kind of understand it. But yet, from a foreigner, like I say, when they invited me to the film festival, not only would I have to quarantine, but I would have to stay in my hotel room for 14 days. So I would have to pay for the hotel for 14 days. They would bring me my food literally under the door. And, for a 3-day film festival, it just didn't make any sense to do it.
You mean the festival people didn't want to pay for the fact that you are going there for 2 weeks and quarantining? They probably would have if you asked them, right?
Probably if I pushed it, but just in general, an average person going to China has to quarantine for 14 days, and they have to pay for the hotel.
But this incident took place in Hong Kong, correct?
Which is China.
But it's a little bit of a... Is there a little bit of a distinction, or?
Well, it used to be not China, but it's China.
No, it is China.
It belongs to China. It's Chinese territory, and so it's different than mainland. There's no question, but it's part of China, and they have to abide by the laws of China.
Yeah, I mean it's creating a lot of controversy, but for me, I don't see a lot of controversy in it, because if you're vaccinated and you do a COVID test, and obviously, and you look as good as Nicole Kidman, then why keep you in a room for 2 weeks?
Yeah, well, but it just brings up all those issues of privilege and stuff like that. Is it fair? I mean, is it fair to the population in general that certain people get special treatment?
Right.
The answer is probably not.
Right. No, I understand. Well, we will be right back.
The reason why I created Hair Dope is because hair colors are popping everywhere. A lot of people, your favorite rappers, your favorite singers, your favorite artists, whoever, they're dyeing their hair, they're doing things like that, and this is a world full of color. So I feel like I want to feel like everyone can express themselves through my color. Well, to me, the importance of entrepreneurship is having a career that's longevity. A lot of people jump into the game and into careers of being an entrepreneur and not having longevity in what they're doing. So that's what I really feel like. You have to put your all into it. It has to be from the heart. You have to have longevity. You have to be able to stay in and stay active.
Welcome back to the podcast. So, Larry, I'm still hearing controversy about the Jeopardy host. And I was reading something today. I don't know if you saw this, but there's a podcast that came out that was the guy was talking a couple of years ago about something putting down the women and stuff, and now it's coming back to haunt him. Did you hear anything about this? It just came out today.
No, I haven't heard about that one. I'm kind of a little bit behind today.
No, it's okay. I was just reading, and I thought maybe you've heard about it too, because they're saying that this guy, who now he's going to be the Jeopardy host, basically, and now more things are coming out. You remember we talked about it last week, where he was on Price is Right, and some stuff came out about him, and now there are more stuff coming out. So, but
yeah, well, quite honestly, I'm getting a little tired of the being things overly politically correct, going back years and going 25 years ago you said this and whatever, because you lose the context on a lot of this stuff. I'm not saying that things that are legitimately wrong shouldn't be dealt with, but just a lot of this stuff, things that you may have said or done 30 years ago and they were perfectly fine. In today's world, they're not so fine. So you got to find a balance there.
Do you think
sometimes
that's fair
they
that
overdo
some
it.
of that stuff is coming out from, like, if the guy said something 5 years ago on a podcast, do you think that should be something to disqualify him now from a job?
Well, it depends on what he said and how severe it was and stuff. But what were the norms? I think you got to apply. What are the norms of the time?
Right.
I mean, I go back. I look now at things that people filing things. He touched my elbow and it made me uncomfortable. And I'm like, okay, when I started in production a million years ago, it was all guys and all girls, and we would work 16 hours a day, and then we'd go out for drinks, and we would kid with each other. And if I think of the things we used to say to each other, both men saying to women and women saying to men, today would never stand up. I mean, I'd be in jail today. But then it was perfectly normal, and it went both ways. So, again, I think you got to really add context to this stuff to make sense of it.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I want to see how that plays out, because Sony Pictures was saying that they didn't know anything about this podcast. It just came out. Somebody brought it to their attention, and now they're talking about it. Anyway, I thought I'll mention it to you because I thought maybe you heard something about it. But I'm gonna follow it, and maybe we'll talk about it next time and see how this plays out. Should be interesting.
Yeah, you look at what's going on now with social media and stuff like that. You take. I guarantee that within the next half a century, I mean, we're going to have instances where somebody's running for a big political office, and then they go back and find out some Twitter posting they did while they were in college, and they talk about, I drank too much last night and I did this or whatever. Does that disqualify you from being, a political candidate? So, like I say, there's got to be some balance here somehow.
Yeah, no, I agree. So I want to talk about this project that just came out on Netflix called Vivo.
Oh yeah, the Lin Manuel Miranda
from
project.
Lin Manuel, Miranda, and he. So, you think that animation right now is huge, right? Because of the with COVID restrictions, they were at least able to do the productions for animated projects, right?
Yeah.
And he's basically touching, on Cuban culture. And, I mean, this guy's extremely talented. I think he can do whatever he wants, right?
Yeah, he's an amazingly talented guy. And, there's probably no modern-day person that does more for advancing information or understanding about, different nationalities and ethnicities than he is. I mean, you go back to Hamilton, which, really took African Americans, to a new level.
Yeah.
And then he got a lot of flack for, In the Heights.
Yeah.
Where he was showing, Dominicans and, people saying, well, you didn't show people that were dark enough. And, that's one thing. And, now he's doing Cuban culture. So he's doing amazing stuff. And, I think him moving into the animation world is interesting because it really does make his stuff accessible to the world. Because, so it's not just in English. When you do animation, the good part about animation is no residuals. You don't have to keep paying the actors, and you could have those characters speak any language or sing in any language and stuff. So I think this really does kind of take what he's doing and really make it a universal effort.
And you're not going to get sued if you put it on the theaters and on the streaming platform at the same time. By the
not by the cartoon characters, no.
But I had a question for you because I thought he was more of a Disney. That's one thing that I'm a little confused about that maybe you can clarify. So a company like Disney signs you to do projects, right?
Yeah.
But so Lin Manuel he's done projects for Disney. So I thought he was probably one of the Disney people or signed to Disney. And now when I saw Sony, I was honestly a little surprised that he's going to go out and do a project for Sony. So is that normal, or is it how does that work?
I think it depends on how famous you get and what kind of leverage you have.
Okay.
I mean, any studio is going to want you to be exclusive to them.
Yeah.
But when you're a Lin Manuel Miranda and stuff, you have the leverage to say, no, I'm not going to be exclusive. Maybe Disney gets a first look at some of his projects,
Yeah.
but he's not tied to any one studio.
If I'm not mistaken, weren't you on a board of a company with them, with Lin Manuel?
Yeah. Well, actually, it's a very interesting company. It comes out of Florida, and it's called Theater Ears.
Okay.
And the way it started was actually a dentist in Florida who was married to a Latina woman. And when her family would come up and they want to go to the movies with the kids, they really couldn't do it because the movies are in English and the family only spoke Spanish.
Oh.
So what they did, they created this app that goes on your phone called Theater Ears, and you for $1 or 50 cents, whatever, I forget what it costs, grandma could go to the movies, and it syncs with the movie itself. There's a tone in the film that syncs, so she could be listening on her phone and she could watch the movie in Spanish while the kids are watching in English. I mean,
Wait, so it's translating it for you simultaneously?
when they make a movie,
Yeah.
they have a Spanish track, they have a Russian track, they have a German track, because the movie goes to all these different countries.
Right.
But in America, you've only been exposed to the English track.
Right.
But the other language tracks do exist. So what they do is they then bring them back and put them in the app, so that if you're there and you buy it. Right now they're doing just Spanish, but they're going to expand to other languages.
I see. Wow.
So grandma could watch it in Spanish while the kids will watch it in English, and then they're going to add Mandarin next, I believe, and stuff. But I think what's gone on there, and Lin Manuel and I are both on the advisory board of this company, they now figured out how to make it work in the home. COVID kind of forced it as theater attendance dropped. So they're now taking the same technology. So if grandma's in the living room, she could use the app and watch the TV show in Spanish while the kids are watching it in English.
Well, I mean, if grandma can read, there are subtitles that you can have in
But
in Spanish.
it's better when you hear it.
Yeah. And now, I don't know if you've noticed this, at least on Netflix, if you're watching, let's say, a French movie and you don't feel like reading the subtitles, you can switch it so it's translated, so it's being dubbed in English.
I missed
All
that
the
one.
movies. So you go down, and once you click on the screen, in the bottom it would say French with translation,
Huh.
or it would say English, without translation.
Right.
So without subtitles. So you could just watch it, and then somebody is doing the voice. Obviously, you're not hearing the actual actor.
Right.
You're hearing somebody, dubbing it, but still.
Yeah, but when you deal with movies, when they make a movie and then they're going to ship it off to the Spanish-speaking countries, they put a lot of money and a lot of attention into. They cast those voiceovers and stuff, so it's done perfectly synced, and it's done with the right kind of voices and stuff like that. So it's not just translating it; it's the whole creative experience that goes along with having professional actors
Yeah.
do it in different languages.
I've only seen that on Netflix. So when you're on Netflix next time, if
I'm
you're
gonna check that
watching a foreign film, go on the bottom and you could actually switch it off.
Huh.
If you don't feel like reading subtitles. I know my wife sometimes, she doesn't want to read subtitles. She doesn't like reading subtitles. So we almost always switch it to like where it's dubbed, and it's pretty good. I think they're spending a lot of money to do that, you know. So anyway, wow, if Lin Manuel is available, you should invite him to come on the show next time you talk to him.
I'll do it.
You know, maybe you can do a little bit of a rapping thing for us.
You know, actually,
keyboard.
we do have next month. We have an advisory board meeting, so we'll all be on the Zoom call together.
You let him know that that we really want him to come on the show.
Yeah,
You know.
I'll do it.
All right, we'll be right back.
We're all fans of something or someone, investing our time and loyalty, but getting little in return. Well, it's about to change forever with Fanvestor, a platform that lets you get in on celebrity businesses early on, buy shares of their new startups, support a charity and new product drops, and share once-in-a-lifetime experiences with them.
What's up, it's Amari Stoudemire here, and we're launching Masa with Fanvestor to offer a limited edition, perks, products, and experience to my fans.
Here's how it works. Go to fanvestor.com. Choose an opportunity you want to get in on. Click here and there, and you're done. Go check your email for the investor's certificate. And don't forget to check back often for updates on your new business investment. It's official now. Celebrate your support with an experience. Go 10 rounds in the gym with Amare, get a matching tattoo with Super Dope Q, or get on FaceTime and hang out by the pool with DJ Khaled. After all, you're more than a fan now. You're a Fanvestor.
Welcome back. Larry, it's interesting about these big award shows. Now, the Country Music Award is going to be streamed on Amazon, not on a major, traditional network.
Yeah, I think.
What do you think of that?
For years and years, I think it was on CBS. And,
Yes.
It's now moving. It's moving to one of these paid digital platforms. It's moved to Amazon. I think you'll see more and more of it. Because the people who like these awards love the awards, but the absolute number is relatively low. So it makes a lot of sense for an Amazon and Netflix, or Disney Plus to have these award shows on there and really do them high value for those people who love them. But, the CBSs of the world need higher ratings in order to survive and get advertising dollars. So I think you're just seeing the beginning of a trend. I mean, just look at what's happened with, football and baseball, where, a lot of the games, while there are still some on broadcast, a lot of it have moved to, some of these pay platforms and stuff like that. The award shows, you'll see, there are more and more award shows now.
Yeah. But do you think that that's the future? Do you think Netflix and all of these other platforms will start carrying the major award shows?
Yeah, I think you'll see a lot of them move there. I mean, look, these days Netflix is winning all the Academy Awards anyway.
Yeah.
So maybe that's where. I mean, it will be a little bit of a conflict, but I think you'll see a lot of this stuff move there, just the way sports has moved.
Yeah.
To other places than where they started out.
Wow, the future of TV is completely changing, especially with these big award shows. We're still discussing what's going to be happening with the Grammy Awards. Being as a voting member for the Recording Academy, we've had meetings and things are really changing, with the diversity and things that we're trying to do, bring some new people in. We let go a bunch of people that was pretty much part of the Recording Academy for many, many years, but we're bringing a lot of changes.
Yeah.
So
well, besides that, so with the COVID, hasn't it really given you a chance to start to do a lot of new stuff and experiment with stuff? And rumor has it that you've actually been doing some new work. Is that true?
Yeah, well, I released a new album back in April 23rd, and that was really a solo piano album because every week I perform a new composition on YouTube. And for the fans, since I'm not able to go out there and perform live, I'm doing it in the studio, and it's been really good. I mean, I'm getting a lot of nice comments and people that tune in every week to see me perform.
So is there a new one that we can get our hands on?
We were talking earlier about Afghanistan, and I just wrote a piece that it's going to be on this coming Saturday, but I want our audience to see it before,
Oh, that'd be cool.
and it's called Hope for a Better Day, and it's
All right.
dedicated to them. So it's going to be on my channel, Omar Akram YouTube channel, on Saturday, but we will have it earlier on this channel on our show.
Yeah, no, that's actually a good cause and stuff, and I hope that a lot of people who get to see it actually share it and get it out there and stuff, because it is timely and it is needed. So
Yes. So let's go and check it out. We'll be right back. Welcome back. So what do you think, Larry?
that actually, I always joke with you that you are the male Enya, but no, that's actually pretty good.
Thank you.
That's that one's catchy, and
Well,
you might
for-
have a little bit of talent there.
Yeah. Well, if you coming from you, it means a lot.
Yeah. Well, we're growing.
Yeah. Yeah, that was
A
big,
lot
big
of
news.
A lot of new places that people are going to be able to
Yeah.
see us, hear
Now
us,
we're
and
on
stuff.
Spotify, right? We're on Apple.
Apple
podcast.
Podcast, yeah.
We're on Google.
Yep.
Is it Google Podcast? Google Podcast
Yeah. And
And
I think
then-
now Amazon too,
and
right?
Amazon. So does that mean that Jeff Bezos personally sits behind the desk and listens
He-
to our podcast, and then he broadcasts this over to Amazon, right?
I heard that he tunes in every week just so he knows what's going on in the world. So,
Yeah. This is where he gets his information. And that's why he's growing
Yeah.
the way he is, right? Well, it's always fun to do a show with you, Larry. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy hanging out with you. I know how busy you are with all the projects. And someday let's tell us about all the projects you're doing, because you're always working on new things. I know Fanvestor keeps you very, very busy,
Yeah, next week, actually, I'm going to have a few interesting new announcements to make about the stuff that, we're doing in China. Not Fanvestor, but Metan and stuff. And I
Really?
think people will be really intrigued with some of the stuff that's going on there.
Wow. So is traveling to China is opening now? I mean, are you able to go there, or is it
No.
not yet, right?
No, not yet and stuff. It's still, you're subject to quarantines and stuff, long quarantines. So I haven't been back to my office in China in a year and a half.
So still that 14-day is still
Yeah.
okay. They're still doing that. But yeah, I can't wait to hear all about the new projects. And you guys, I want to thank all of you guys watching the show, because without you, we don't have a show. So all the comments that you put, please keep it going, because Larry and I actually read the comments, and we enjoy them, and we appreciate all of you guys. So thank you very much for watching, Larry. Always
Yeah,
a
and then,
pleasure.
watch for next week. I mean, we've got really interesting guests coming on, Dina Meyer.
Yes.
And Dina's, the head of international growth and business development for this company in Canada called Lighthouse,
Yes.
which is the company that presents this amazing show, the Immersive Van Gogh, which is, I think, in 10 or 12 different cities right now. It's doing amazing. If you haven't seen it, you should definitely go see it. But Dina will be with us and tell us not just about Van Gogh, but some of the other plans that this company has of creating more great shows.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So thank you again for watching. We will see you next week.
Cool.